So lately, we've been doing a series on 25 trading resolutions for 2025 and beyond. If you have some resolutions that you made for trading, leave them in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching the video of this. And I'd love to know what yours are. And by the way, and somewhere along the line, I think I talked about this a little bit last week and weeks prior, and maybe one of the resolutions coming up is if you want to make a big change in your life, make a small change, okay? We have a homeostasis about us, if that's the right word. You know, what's the temperature? 98, our internal temperature is 98.6 or whatever it is. You know, that goes up a few degrees or down a few degrees. It's not really good for us, okay? We have to maintain this homeostasis. And it's like all these people with the diets. I mean, I know a couple that are out there on their third diet of the year or whatever, and it's like they go on these crazy fad diets and they end up fatter than when they started. And that's just because they try to make too big of a change. Robert Maurer, he's got a couple of books. One of them is Mastering Fear, which is pretty good, but the other one was Kaizen Way, which is even better. And he talks a lot about that. And I saw him speak at a conference I was speaking at probably 10 years ago. And he said something really interesting. He talked about like a client who couldn't lose weight, okay? And she's been to all the doctors and tried all the different things, and you know, and just absolutely couldn't lose weight. And then he says, "I tell you what." He says, "What do you like to do?" She goes, "Wow, watch a lot of TV." So, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Fine. I want you to do me a favor tonight. When you're home, I want you to just stand during one of the commercials, and I want you to do that for a week. Just doing one of the commercials. I want you to stand up, okay? And then next week, he's like, I want you to stand up doing all the commercials, okay? And before long, she was standing there, just standing there watching TV, waiting for the commercials in. She started marching while she watched TV, okay? And then that led to her walking outside, which led to her running. And I think she ended up running marathons eventually from such a small change. Now, let's say she ran out and tried to run a marathon day one, then obviously that wouldn't work. She'd be so sore she'd never go anywhere. We had not to get too far sidetracked, but and I thank them for this. I'm so glad they got me back into working out. A couple of buddies, a friend just around the corner, he has a bonus room. He turned into a weight room, and they invited me to work out with him. And then that same cocktail party we were there, one of the guys like, yeah, I worked out once with him and I'm one and done, and he couldn't perform bodily functions to take care of himself. He was so sore the next day. And I don't know whether it's literally or figuratively. I didn't want to ask any questions, but that was like an aha moment for me. It's like, Dave, I know you worked out years ago, but that was many, many years ago. You know, like I used to joke about my annual workout. And so I took it what I thought was super easy. And the next day I was sore AF, but then I kept going back day after day after day. And you know, it was kind of fun because there's a lot of jaw jacking happening. You know, if you didn't show up, they'd be like, what are you doing? And you know, guys are brutal, believe me. Women like, why can't you just treat us like one of the guys? Like, really? Is that what you want? I don't think so. And Marcy, my wife, she's always like, why are you so mean to each other? I'm like, that's what guys do, you know? But anyway, that got me into working out. I kind of eased my way into it. And we're no longer working out there, but I've joined a gym since, and I rarely miss a day. Market holidays I take off, and and I know myself, if I take one day off, I'll take 2 days off, I'll take the week off, I'll take the month off, and I'm done. Anyway, I wanted to getting back to this long story endless. Imagine that, me going off on a tangent. I wanted to revisit the number 10 because I found some of these slides that went with the resolutions from a couple years back. And you don't want to micromanage your trades. And if you look at a trade like this, you could see there were a lot of zigs and zags along the way, and it would have been very easy to exit the trade. And if you look at the Q trade, and you go back, the trade in the Qs, you go back on my YouTube channel, you'll see that there was an $8,000 drawdown in that trade. Well, that's the baby poop, right? Mike Moody's, the way he talks about the baby poop, and that's a baby poop of momentum trading, right? It just comes with the territory. The drawdowns are abysmal, with a longer term trend following. And that's why we use the hybrid money management approach with this, take the partial profits and trail the stop and let things open up, etc. But you could see in this particular trade, in a lot of presentations I'll show what that drawdown was on each one of those zigs and zags. And then the other thing too, like Brian was alluding to, the market's been so choppy, it's all over the place. Well, it's very hard to sit in a position in a choppy market. But if that's what you're supposed to do, that's what you're supposed to do. So be careful not to micromanage yourself out of trades. This is the K and F example we're talking about earlier. And you can see that that's where it stopped out there. Now, if our stop was just a little wider, and who knows, right? That could have easily been the top. It looked like it topped out. But if the stop was a little wider, the stock almost doubled from there, which would have been kind of cool. But anyway, lots of zigs and zags along the way in these, and you could easily micromanage yourself out. It's probably been 20 years, maybe even longer. But I do remember we triggered into a stock and it just absolutely flatlined for like, I forget how many days. I was shocked it went so long. But as you'll see in a second, it's kind of like enjoy the process. I'm like, okay, well, let's make this a game. Let's see how long I can stick with you, even though you're going absolutely sideways. Well, the damn thing got bought out. And a lot of people during that 20 or 40 or 50 days or whatever, where it just went sideways after triggering, they got out. They got impatient. They micromanaged themselves out. So you have to, I told somebody once, in for a penny, in for a pound, let the chips fall where they may. All right, number 11. I will seek excitement and entertainment outside of the market. Okay. You want some excitement? Go to Vegas. Okay. At least a pretty girl will bring you a drink, while you lose your money, right? Or have an affair. That way you only lose half of your money, as I often joke. You probably don't want to have an affair. It's going to be, please don't have an affair if you're a client. I lose a lot of clients to divorce. Shit, I guess there's a 50-50 chance I'm going to lose a client. So one thing I was thinking about and writing a lot about lately, I wake up every morning and I write morning pages, which is 3 handwritten pages. I'd recommend everybody do that. I've beaten the dead horse on this. That should probably be a resolution. I'm sure it is. I have to dig them all out, but I think that's one of them. But one thing I've been writing about lately is it kind of seems like it contradicts the process thing we'll talk about in a second. But it actually, the two actually work together. But never forget that the only reason to ever put on a trade is to make money. I overtrade way too much. I'm getting better again. This choppy market has really slapped me in the face, like getting hit in the head with a halibut. Again, I have to relive this process again through choppy markets. Now, I'm not doing anything position-wise because I've been working so hard, so long on that core trading, that position trading, the swing to intermediate term, and hopefully much longer term trading, that I know what I should do. Conversely, with the intraday stuff, I get sucked into way too many trades, and I'm working on that. And it's like what's Michelangelo say? And what's the Latin for it? Encara, empora, or something. I forget how it goes, but it's basically I am still learning, and you have to take that approach. And all these kind of going off on a tangent, imagine that, but all these people, they make you feel inadequate. All these people on YouTube that are selling their crap make you feel inadequate. I mean, some of them are doing like one guy was doing something. I'm like, that looks a lot like a moving average crossover. He's just making it like his secret indicator or something. But these guys make you feel inadequate. Believe me, we all have doubts. We all have fears, and that never goes away. It gets easier, but it never gets easy. And in one way it gets easier is if you're sticking with your core methodology. It doesn't have to be mine, but if you're sticking with your core methodology, that just gets better and better and better and better over time. And you learn during times like this, like Brian and I were talking about a second ago, you sit on your hands. But never forget, the only reason to put on a trade is to make money. Now, I had a client a while back, and I've said this 1,000 times, and he calls me one day, he goes, man, my trading just got a lot better. I'm like, well, what are you doing? Because I'm willing to learn, old dog, new tricks, right? And he says, well, my doctor quit at the hospital, so I'm working literally day and night but I'm no longer trading like a crazy man. He's waiting and taking opportunities when they present themselves. And that's why I'm always preaching busy traders make good traders, because they're so busy saving lives or defending bad guys or fixing automatic transmissions that they don't have time for mediocrity. Who was it? Bourdain once said, God, I'd hate to see that guy go. I liked him a lot. But he said mediocrity is the greatest sin. And guess what? I worked on a piece just on that too. So I need to publish some of this stuff. And I agree. So you want to trade the best, I know it's cliche, and leave the rest. And again, it should be that F yeah feeling, that F yeah moment. But the more you observe the market unnecessary action, looks like I'm having trouble reading my old writing here, that you take, okay, the more you observe the market, the more unnecessary action you take, and the more likely you will put yourself into a state of regret. And a lot of what we do is regret management. And the way you manage your regret is don't put you into that state of regret. It's like, yeah, drop an F-bomb, like, I'm human. I come in and see KGS down. It was making all-time highs. I'm thinking like, oh, we're going to hit the profit target tomorrow. It looks so damn good. Look at me. I'm Big Dave, And so, sounds like the Frenchman from Monty Python. But anyway, and then I come in, I see it down. It's like drop an F-bomb. It's like, okay. I actually saw on Facebook it was down before I actually checked the market. But anyway, you don't want to micromanage yourself out of trades. You don't want to make trades out of boredom, okay? Or the recreational trade, as I often call it. And somebody said this a while back, and I don't know who to attribute it to, but it makes a lot of sense. You want to be as close to the market as you need to be, but no closer. So again, like I said earlier, when I used to get pissed off at my core position trades, walk around the block, I was obviously watching them too much during the day.